Majo John Madden sitting on the balcony at the western end of the Haywood Respite Center where I'm living right now. It's a wild spot. 240 down there, and Patton Avenue is queuing up it's after 8 o'clock on a weekday. Just where those cars are going out on Haywood Avenue has been a problem spot in Asheville as long as I remember. They call it the 240 interchange or concussion junction because so many accidents happen where all these highways come together. And I was involved in one of them. I want to make a little entry about the 4 legal charges I got faced with when I went to turn myself in to try to resolve a warrant for my arrest. I was in Kentucky in 2021, I think it would have been by then, and got a call from Buncombe County Sheriff saying, there's a warrant for your arrest back here in Buncombe County for sexual battery, which was a totally crazy interaction with a very dear friend where I was completely innocent in that one. I was completely innocent, but she was freaking out because she had surfaced her material about her abusive father, and I was 20 years older than her. We had been friends for a long time. So I need to call my lawyer, my public defender lawyer this morning to see if they've talked with her, to see if they're going to drop that charge. I'm hoping that she and I could have an interaction and she might realize that I'm her friend and that I absolutely meant no harm and get that one dropped. But there were 4 charges when I went there, and they arrested me and kept me for a week. Partly it ran so long because the DA here, Todd Williams, is a personal friend of mine, had been quite a good personal friend. We knew each other at church. And he pulled the DA office, the Buncombe County DA, totally off the case because he didn't want any conflict of interest. So it took me a week to get out of the jail, partly because it was the Raleigh DA who was handling my case, and they weren't around all the time. But 4 charges, that was one of them. Second one had to do with concussion junction, and it's another one where I was totally innocent. I was in my big camper van in the left lane, just puttering up to the left turn spot, straight ahead, and somebody came across all 4 lanes in a crazy way and smashed into the side of my van. I hadn't heard any screams. I was pretty sure nobody had been hurt. The only damage they did to my big 88 Ford Econoline that was built like a Mack truck. Back in 88, they used big, heavy sheet metal. It was twice as heavy as the cars just a few years later. Just a scratch to the side, but they did dislodge my mirror so I couldn't see to the right. It was impossible for me to pull over. At the stoplight, the woman next to me said, go back and get their insurance, because it was obvious to her I had nothing to do with it. It was an error in judgment on my part. I couldn't see, couldn't get over that way. I just went ahead with my left-hand turn. But whoever created that accident by smashing into me tried, because they saw that I was gone, they tried to make a claim that it was my fault. So I have a hit and run is the one citation that's going to be tough to beat because it was an error in judgment. The other 2, one was the guy I punched. That's something I feel real good about. He had insulted my black neighbor. And even the Asheville cop, the woman who arrested me on the way to the station house, said, let me get this straight. You hit that guy so your black friend, my friend Eric, who I had taken in off the street, would not have to because you thought the justice system would go easier on you. I said, yeah. Eric very gentle, sweet soul, and brilliant blues guitarist who I found out the other day, last week, is still around here. I'm hoping to catch up with him because we're really important friends. He never got tired of saying he was out on probation for fighting. If he had hit that guy, he could have done some real serious time. So it was a good thing to do. I, who never had been a fighter, it was clearly to me the voice for God that said, you handle this. You handle this. So the woman cop said, awesome, good work. Nobody's gonna hold you for that here. And they didn't. And when finally that guy Alan, the punk racist neighbor of mine in my building, didn't show up for court, the whole thing got dropped. And somehow it's a clerical, I don't think it's a clerical error. Somehow Alan, the city, the county is holding it that I did not show up for court. And it looks like Alan maybe re-upped the charge. I don't know how he would have done that because the public defender's office, they'll have the record that says it got dismissed. But a few months later, after I was already out of town, I did not show up for a court date. So I don't know how Alan even got to get it back in. We can get that resolved. So, sexual battery, leaving the scene of a hit and run, Alan's charge about me punching him, and oh yeah, I can't beat this one. It was the COVID. I was getting used to living in a camper van. I was going through all kinds of spiritual changes. I ran a red light. Cops got me for that. I don't think I can beat that one. I ran a red light. So much chaos in the world. And COVID. We're still recovering from that one. And here I am back in the U.S. In Mexico, I was grieving for my friends in the U.S. from all the chaos in the U.S. with Trump 2.0. And now I'm back here. I'm choosing, some days I choose not to watch any of that news because listening to the last bit of craziness for the Trump administration is just more than I can deal with. More than I can deal with. Ingles struck. Ingles is the big supermarket chain around here. Louisville is Kroger. I crave to get back to Mexico and hopefully I will survive. I've still got the 17th. Today is what's today? The 10th? A week from today I have my MRIs. I have MRIs for my prostate, which very likely has cancer. My kidneys, which because of my renal failure, my kidneys have at times been bathed in urine and they seem to be compromised. And I have some skin cancer on my face here. So a lot, and just spent a week in jail, which was incredibly traumatizing. But I am going to sue them. I've documented the whole thing really well because I had a UTI, out of control urinary tract infection while I was in the jail. And it's a real they have a very anti-inmate culture there and they would not pay attention. And when I finally got dismissed last Thursday, the bond got dropped and I got out. I was so sick, I had a Buncombe County. I was coming out of the Buncombe County detention facility. A Buncombe County ambulance took me to Mission Hospital where it all got documented how wildly sick I was and they had ignored it. So it's scary to file suit, but I'm gonna. I found out a good local law firm that's got a good track record of suing municipal police departments and jails because something's got to happen with that jail, even though my friend Todd Williams is the DA. A lot. So as I was sitting out here, the birds were singing. There's a mockingbird singing. Here's where I got to see mockingbirds in the South the first time I lived in the South. And in the middle of all this chaos, because this is, in addition to Concussion Junction, this corner is where the homeless people hang out. And this church, Haywood Congregation, has a huge mission to the homeless, whether they are housed or unhoused, still using or not using, everybody. I'm going to stop talking. There's so much more I could say about all that. It's enough.